Astrology is the study of the meaningful movements of the planets throughout our solar system, with special reference to the signs of the zodiac through which the planets travel, as well as the 12 houses of the astrological system. Jungian psychology is focused on the study of the human psyche, which is composed mostly of what Jung called the collective unconscious. The psyche is its own unique operating system, inhering in meaningful moving parts within the psycho-spiritual dimensions of a human being. These meaningful moving parts are known as archetypes, primordial patterns or original blueprints which undergird and give form to universal human experiences. When we say archetypal astrology, therefore, we are pointing to a direct correspondence between the archetypes of the collective unconscious and the planets in our solar system. Following Hermetic tradition, this correspondence is enacted in the famous dictum, "As above, so below." Archetypal astrology is a branch of a relatively new discipline known as archetypal cosmology, a field that was born out of conversations during the late 1960s at Esalen between transpersonal philosophers Stanislav Grof and Richard Tarnas. Tarnas effectively birthed a new discipline when he subsequently wrote Kosmos and Psyche, a massive tome which is based upon the theory that the entire universe is pervaded by a priori governing laws, suggested originally in the Greek philosophical canon and repeated again in Jungian psychology. As Richard Tarnas observes, quote, "The basic principle of astrology is that the planets have a fundamental, cosmically based connection to specific archetypal forces or principles which influence human existence, and that the patterns formed by the planets in the heavens bear a meaningful correspondence to the patterns of human affairs on the earth. In terms of individuals, the positions of the planets at the time and place of a person's birth are regarded as corresponding to the basic archetypal patterns of that person's life and character. Astrology makes possible a further understanding of one's life, its cycles, its ups and downs, the crises and the breakthroughs, the periods of major change and transformation, through the study of transits. Transits occur when the planets currently in the sky form certain geometrical patterns with respect to the planetary positions at one's birth. The nature of those patterns, which planets are involved and how they are positioned, appears to correlate in a strikingly consistent way with the archetypal character of the experiences one tends to have at that time. Archetypes can be understood and described in many ways, and in fact much of the history of Western thought from Plato and Aristotle onward has been concerned with this very question. But for our present purposes, we can define an archetype as a universal principle or force that affects, impels, structures, permeates the human psyche and human behavior on many levels. One can think of them as primordial instincts, as Freud did, or as transcendent first principles, as Plato did, or as gods of the psyche, as James Hillman did. Archetypes, for example Venus or Mars, seem to have a transcendent mythic quality, yet they also have very specific psychological expressions, as in the desire for love and the experience of beauty, Venus, or the impulse towards forceful activity and aggression, Mars. Moreover, archetypes seem to work from both within and without, for they can express themselves as impulses and images from the interior psyche, yet also as events and situations in the external world. Jung thought of archetypes as the basic constituents of the human psyche, shared cross-culturally by all human beings, and he regarded them as universal expressions of a collective unconscious. Much earlier, the Platonic tradition considered archetypes to be not only psychological, but also cosmic and objective, as primordial forms of a universal mind that transcended the human psyche. Astrology would appear to support the Platonic view as well as the Jungian, since it gives evidence that Jungian archetypes are not only visible in human psychology, in human experience and behavior, but are also linked to the macrocosm itself, to the planets and their movements in the heavens. Astrology thus supports the ancient idea of an anima mundi, or world soul, in which the human psyche participates. From this perspective, what Jung called the collective unconscious can be viewed as being ultimately embedded within the cosmos itself." Unquote. On a personal level, therefore, the study of archetypal astrology can reveal the undulating and permeating presence of archetypal energies influencing our lives both from without and from within. Knowing what these influential patterns represent is thus an invaluable tool for self-knowledge, allowing us to refer to a living map of psycho-cosmic interactions. This type of deep inner work is what is meant by the oft-repeated Delphic dictum, "Know thyself."